Hi, this is Reddit Confessions channel. My name is Rowan. For 11 years, I believed I had a marriage built on trust. Maybe not perfect, and no marriage ever is, but strong enough to survive anything life threw our way. My wife, Celeste, and I had created a world together, holidays, inside jokes, plans for the future. We were the kind of couple others described as solid. Also, I thought. It all came undone on a Thursday night. A charity function. One of those elegant events with linen-covered tables, overpriced wine, and a string quartet playing music no one really listened to. I didn't want to go. Those gatherings were more Celeste's thing than mine. But I went anyway. She loved them, and I loved her. At least, I thought I did. She looked breathtaking. A navy blue dress that shimmered under the chandelier light, her dark hair twisted into something elegant, her laughter soft and effortless. She was radiant. Everyone noticed. But I wasn't worried. I was proud. Until I wasn't. It started with a man tall, confident, the kind of presence that commanded attention without needing to say a word. I watched him walk across the ballroom like he belonged there. He stopped in front of her with a smile that was too familiar, too assured. At first, I assumed he was another donor or acquaintance from one of her social boards. But then they started to dance. Slowly, intimately. His hand went to her waist. Her fingers slid into his without hesitation. Their bodies moved like they'd done this before. She didn't look for me in the crowd. Didn't glance over her shoulder to check if I was watching. She just vanished into him. Into that moment. I stood by the drinks table, half listening to someone talk about local tax policy. But my eyes never left her. I kept expecting her to break away, to step back, to remember that I was right there. She never did. She laughed at something he whispered. She leaned in close. She smiled a smile I hadn't seen in months, one reserved for early romance, for newness, for someone you're still discovering. It wasn't just a dance. I knew that in my gut. It was a reveal. And somehow, everyone else seemed to know it before I did. I could have caused a scene. Walked up, cut in, made a sarcastic comment, demanded answers. But I didn't. I couldn't. There was something deeper inside me. A silence that settled in my bones. The kind that doesn't scream, it just breaks. I left. No goodbye. No glances. Just gone. I remember the chill that hit me the moment I stepped outside. Not from the weather, it was a clear night, but from everything I felt falling out from under me. The pavement stretched out like it had no end. My lungs felt too tight. My tie too suffocating. Still, she didn't come after me. Not in 5 minutes. Not in 20. Not ever. I walked for blocks without direction, past high-end boutiques, closed cafes, a bookstore we once spent an entire Sunday browsing in. I half expected her to text, to call, to at least ask where I went. Nothing. When I finally stopped walking, I was in front of an old diner. One of those quiet, never-closed places with a cracked neon sign and the smell of fried onions clinging to the windows. I went in, slid into a booth, and ordered coffee. Black, bitter, like my thoughts. The waitress didn't ask questions, just poured and walked away. Bless her. I sat there with my hands around the mug, watching the steam swirl up, hoping it would take my confusion with it. But nothing left me. It just sat heavier. I pulled out my phone. No new messages. No missed calls. No frantic "where are you?" I went to our texts. Last one was from that morning. Celeste, don't forget, black tie. I love you. I stared at it like it had been sent to someone else. That was the part that cut deepest. The pretending. I scrolled through my contacts and stopped at one named Jonah. My oldest friend. The guy who introduced me to Celeste all those years ago. We hadn't talked much lately, life, work, timing, but I needed someone who knew her. Someone who might seen what I hadn't. I typed me. Can I ask you something? Honestly. It took him 2 minutes to respond. Jonah, shoot. Me, has anything felt off about Celeste lately? His typing bubble appeared, then vanished, then appeared again. Jonah, you sure you want the truth? My heart sank. Yes. Another pause. A long one. Then, Jonah, I've seen her with someone. Twice. Could been innocent. But it didn't feel that way. I didn't know how to tell you. I stared at that message for a long time. I wanted to scream, or throw the phone across the room, or walk back into that ballroom and demand answers in front of everyone. But I didn't do any of that. I just wrote me, thank you for telling me. And then I turned off my phone. I got home sometime past midnight. The living room lights were off, but her car was in the driveway. Inside, she was sitting on the couch in sweatpants and that faded college hoodie I used to love on her. She looked up as I walked in. Hey, she said casually, as if it'd just gone out for milk. You disappeared. I didn't reply. I walked past her, hung up my coat, and sat in the armchair opposite. Is everything okay? She asked, like I hadn't just witnessed her become someone else in another man's arms. I stared at her for a long time. Then, who is he? She blinked. What? The man from the gala. Who is he? She looked down at her hands. That told me everything. Just a friend, she said too quickly. Try again. Silence. Then, a whisper, his name is Marcus. He's on the same board as me. We've worked together on a few projects. Are you in love with him? Her eyes widened. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. That silence was louder than any confession. That night, I slept in the guest room. She didn't follow me. She didn't knock. She didn't even send a message. I lay awake for hours, staring at the ceiling, wondering how long this had been going on. Wondering if the version of her I loved had been gone for longer than I realized. The next morning, she was already gone when I woke up. A note on the counter said, "Went to work early. We can talk later if you want. I'm sorry about last night." No explanation. No emotion. Just sorry. Later that day, I started digging. I didn't want to, but that part of your brain that needs to know. It doesn't care what your heart can handle. I checked our shared calendar. Meetings with Marcus. Outings labeled board planning that overlapped with weekends. I thought she was visiting her sister. Receipts in the email, a wine bar she never told me about. 2 tickets to a concert I didn't attend. A hotel booking from last month. My heart pounded as I opened the receipt. 2 guests. 1 bed. No excuses. No more maybe I'm overreacting. I wasn't. That evening, when she came home, I was already packed. A duffel bag. Nothing dramatic. Just enough. She stepped inside and froze. What are you doing? She asked. Leaving. Rowan, wait. Can we can we talk? You had months to talk. I didn't mean for this to happen. Then why did you let it? She stepped forward. It wasn't serious. I laughed. You mean it wasn't serious enough to be honest about? Or not serious enough to stop yourself? She started to cry, but it felt off. Like tears for being caught, not for hurting me. I walked past her, toward the door. Where will you go? She asked. Somewhere I still exist. Then I left. I stayed with Jonah for a week. He didn't ask many questions, just gave me space and beer and silence. The kind of friendship that doesn't require explanation. During that week, Celeste texted, called, emailed, all versions of I miss you. It was a mistake. It meant nothing. I still love you. But none of it mattered, because I didn't. A few weeks later, I was invited to another gala, the same organization. I almost didn't go, but I did. Not for closure. Just to see. She was there. With Marcus. Smiling. Holding his hand this time, not pretending. She saw me from across the room. And for the first time, she looked scared. Not sorry. Not confused. Scared. Because I wasn't broken. I wasn't waiting. I wasn't hers anymore. And that terrified her. One didn't speak to her that night. Didn't need to. She knew. She tried to walk over once, but I turned away. Later, Jonah clapped me on the back and said, "You look lighter." And for the first time, I felt it. Not because I had found someone new. Not because I had healed. But because I had stopped carrying the weight of being forgotten. A few months after that, I filed the papers. Quietly. No drama. She didn't contest. The last message I got from her simply said, "I hope one day you can forgive me." I never replied. Not out of spite, but because I'd learned something. Forgiveness isn't always about telling the other person. Sometimes it's just choosing peace. And I did.